You're live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, in a move to curb perceived favoritism, government is reigniting talks on a contentious scholarship bill that will slam the door shut on state-funded scholarships for close relatives of politicians. After facing fierce pushback from civil society groups who cried foul over lack of stakeholder consultation, the bill was pulled from Parliament, but now it's back on the table with a sharper edge. Youth Development and Empowerment Minister George Opariado confirms on PM Express last night that a revised bill now contains a clear provision there that bars relatives of politicians from grabbing state-sponsored scholarships.
Must do something.
How are you dealing with the political influence in the scholarship award process, which really has been the main?
It is all in the bill.
How are you dealing with that?
It is
how are you taking
bill.
Politicians away from?
So, for instance, George Opariado, no family member of mine can have access.
So you've written it into the bill?
It's in the bill that certain people of political class. So if we don't...
And your relatives? Or just you?
Evans, this is a very difficult question.
No, it's not. It's a very simple one.
One of the things we debated on during the drafting was, so I come from a very big family. The Opariados are all over.
Does the bill as it stands now say you are disqualified because the person says they know you?
For immediate family members.
Okay. So that's the wording.
Immediate family members. But you see, it's a challenge. But I believe strongly that it's unconscionable for people such as me, people like me, who can afford to pay fees, to want to let my people or even myself go and take a scholarship. The necessary consultations were done.
But civil society say no. I mean, I saw Kojo Asante's CDD's post. He was alarmed. He said, stop it.
You see, Evans.
Kofi Asari also started a petition.
Evans, you can't consult everybody. And then we had a bigger technical committee. Usually what we do is you constitute a technical committee. So people like, for instance, somebody like Sam Garba, who was former administrator of the Gov't, who also administered scholarships during his time, was one of the key technical people on the committee, where I chaired together with the Honorable Haruna Idris as co-chair. And then we put together the bill.
When you go back, you still want to do it once you consult on the certificate of agency?
Of course, yes. You see, as for the certificate of agency, we will have to, because if we are going to go through the normal processes of passing a bill, Evans, you know that it could take even a year. Are we saying that within a year we will not administer scholarships? Would that be good for us as a country? No.
Well, he also disclosed that some grassroots NDC members are unhappy with the proposal to bar politicians and their close relatives from participating and benefiting from state scholarships. But he says the government will stand its ground.
No, I work with a lot of young people at the youth secretariat.
Yeah.
When he heard of the bill, he came to me and said, he calls me Pablo. Pablo, pardon me. He said, I said, why? We saw how a lot of our cohorts on the other side have been educated and gone to school, and they are coming back with all these big degrees. And what are you telling us? And my response to him was simple. Somebody must get the job done. Unfortunately, I have the unpleasant task of being the one. You didn't put a gun to our head when we said we were going to reset. We made promises to the good people of this country. President Mahama is a promise keeper, and I will support him. Keep that.
Even if it costs you the base of your party, a lot of them young people.
They would understand eventually.
You think they will?
They will eventually. Maybe for now, but eventually. And you see, if the bill is passed, people who are deserving, people who truly deserve to be given that opportunity will get it. Yes, I'm national youth organizer of the NDC. My job is to help Ghana for now because I'm minister for Ghana, not minister for just the NDC. And so whatever we do, the supreme interest of the country should be at the forefront.
Well, we're also learning tonight, as part of the reforms captured in the bill, that the government will also centralize all public scholarships, forcing the likes of GMPC to terminate their individual scholarships and place it under one unified umbrella.
Over the years, that has been abused. And the manner in which scholarship has been administered was like selling tomatoes in the markets. People go and then say, let me pay 10 cedis, let me pay 20 cedis. Okay, based on the investigations that the Forfeit State did. Yeah. So we wanted to address that challenge. We also wanted to be able to have a standard, because you realize that GNPC is giving scholarships. Get Fund is giving scholarships. And then the Scholarship Secretariat itself is also giving scholarships. We needed a scholarship regime where if GNPC has funding, put it into a scholarship fund. If Get Fund has funded, put it into a scholarship fund. And then let there be an authority to regulate.
So we have one centralized agency managing all
scholarships.
All as in public funded scholarships.
Because
so GNPC can no longer do it.
But I don't think
Get Fund.
I don't think it is even proper for a government agency like GNPC to be administering scholarships when there is a scholarship agency.
And then we also know that if you want to go on a government scholarship, then you better choose a course locally, because under this new arrangement in this bill, government will no longer be funding scholarships abroad unless you can prove that you cannot find a course locally.
Also, a lot of the scholarships that people had access to travel abroad, a lot of the programs are being run locally. So if we have that kind of money, why don't we give it to our institutions here to properly equip them so that they can give that?
Is the bill seeking to prohibit state-run scholarships from funding students abroad?
Funding some courses abroad. Okay. So one of the things we are looking at is programs that can be or are being taught here locally. The state must not spend money in sending, for instance, business administration.
So you will not fund a student to go abroad to go and study business administration?
To go and stay, when University of Ghana Business School is one of the best in the sub-region.
So in other words, you're saying that...
But we can fund you to go to the University of Ghana Business School if there is a course that is taught locally. Government does not have to spend money to send a student out of this country. What it means is that we have no hope, no confidence in our own institutions. And you see, one of the challenges is our exchange rates. The current bill that I have at the school is over 700 million Ghana cedis in debt that we have to find money to pay.
You mean this from a scholarship?
Yes, the debt that I have inherited as minister.
Just the scholarship secretariat?
Just the scholarship secretariat. There is a debt.
How much is that?
700 million Ghana cedis.
700 million cedis?
Yes.
Of fees that you haven't paid?
That we've not paid.
Across the world?
And so my registrar now has to go around the world and negotiate with schools. And that is what we've been undertaking in the last 4 or 5 months.
I want to bring in Kofi Asare. He's Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch. Daniel Colley-Boche is a President of the National Union of Ghana Students. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time here on Newsnight. Kofi Asare, have you been consulted yet?
I didn't get you.
Have you been consulted yet? I know that's one of the key issues that... Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, Kofi, can you hear me? Okay, we seem to be having a challenge with his connection. Let's see if we can get Daniel Colley-Boche on the line. Hello, Daniel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic. I know when this matter first came up, the backlash was that the consultations haven't been broad enough. Have you been brought into the fold now?
Yes, I can confirm that we have now had the consultation.
And you're getting to know a bit more about the clauses in there. We're also learning a bit more tonight. One of the key clauses that the minister had told us about is that once this is passed, a government scholarship will not be given for you to go and study abroad unless that course is not taught in the university or a tertiary institution locally. What do you make of that?
Exactly so. And it was part of the issues that we raised, and it was broadly discussed and accepted. We are spending money to train students in diploma in nursing, business administration, and courses that you can easily get all over the country, even other parts of the country, not necessarily in Accra. And so how do you spend, let's say, $30,000? And that's just fees. And when you send students abroad, you have to pay their stipends, you have to pay their upkeep money and the rest. In the end, you would have spent about $70,000, which could take care of close to about 30 or 40 students locally. And so it's part of the text of the bill, which we agree fully with.
Stay with me. I have Kofi Osari with me. He's Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch. Kofi, I lost you earlier, but I know you had raised concerns about the initial attempt to have this passed and considered under its certificate of urgency in the absence of broader consultations. Have that been fixed now? Have you been consulted yet?
Yes, I must indicate that it wasn't under a certificate of urgency. It was actually gazetted for 21 days, except that we were not aware and we were not consulted in the consultative process. But yesterday in the morning, we had the opportunity to engage the Minister for Education and the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education, together with NUGS and other civil society organizations, on our concerns in relation to the bill.
I presume then that you've seen the bill now.
Yes, we've seen the bill. We've seen the bill in its current state, and then we have made our inputs to the process.
What's the input? Give me one top one.
Well, we were of the opinion that there should be regional balance in the distribution of scholarships to ensure there is equity. And so, among others, as part of our inclusion inputs, we requested that there should be regional balance considering population and the poverty index. We also recommended that in determining the threshold for defining a needy student, the geographical distribution of learning outcomes by way of WASI results, etc., should be factored in, such that, for instance, you won't use one grade to determine who is brilliant. We also made an input in relation to the foreign scholarships issue. Yes, we are happy that the scholarship focuses on only local programs, but we stress the need for very limited foreign scholarships for STEM programs that are not available in country. And even that, we emphasize that should that happen, this must be done on the basis of a faculty-to-faculty partnership, such that the student will go and do year one of the program in a foreign university and come and continue in a local university. In that, you would have built partnership and capacity between the two universities by the time the scholarship ends. So these are these three are a couple of inputs. We made a lot of inputs.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we'll have time to expand on those because this is such an important piece of legislation. Daniel, just finally to you both. One of the central challenges we've had with the Scholarship Secretariat and its current setup is the way it lent itself to political abuse. The minister tells us that they now have introduced clauses in there to deal with this, one of which clearly bars politicians from benefiting from the scholarship once this bill is passed. Are you happy with the provisions as proposed in this bill? Daniel? Let me put that to Kofi. Kofi, are you happy with that?
How the bill will deal with issues of nepotism, and so in that regard, looking at putting in place a stronger governing board was also discussed. One of the main key issues for us at the National Union of Ghana Students is to put in a provision that ensures that funding should be available before scholarships are awarded. It's one of the key provisions that we really stressed on because even as the minister mentioned, as he played the voice, we have several students stranded abroad with scholarships that have been awarded that are not being honored. And so once this bill is able to take care of that, and we also stress on the need for sanctions, where if scholarships where they knew very well they didn't have funding for, there should be sanctions that should apply.
Okay, those are interesting proposals. And Kofi, give me your quick comment on the current proposed provisions to deal with political abuse.
We made was the inclusion of sanctions. There are sanctions for students who do not comply with the terms of the scholarship, and they are made to repay. Okay, but there were no sanctions for public officers who award scholarship against the dictates of the law. And so we have insisted that there should be in the law a sanction for the awarder of the scholarship if any public official awards scholarships to the wrong people. We hope that that will also be considered.
Thank you very much. Kofi Asare, the Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch. Daniel Kole Boche is the President of the National Union of Ghana Students, NUG. So live here on News Night is on Joy 99.7 FM. We are counting down right now to the mid-year budget review that will be presented tomorrow by the Finance Minister, Dr. Kesela Tafosing. And ahead of that, we'll be doing a bit more from the IMF latest report, where we're learning the government has pledged to the fund to limit public sector wage hikes to 10%, alongside a projected decrease in expenditure on goods and services for this year. The commitment is in the IMF latest report on Ghana, which cautioned that significant fiscal deviations could jeopardize the program. Now, this development comes ahead of the media review tomorrow. We'll soon hear reactions from the business community and go to Parliament for more. JoyNews Research has been studying the report, and my colleague Kofi J joins me in the studio with more on this. What exactly was government's word to that fund?
Evans, let's go to page 9 of the latest IMF review, and it says that, quote, on the expenditure side, the 2025 budget comprises measures that aim at containing primary expenditure, including capping public sector wage increases to 10%, limiting spending on goods and services, and rationalizing operations of several statutory funds, and eliminating spending programs with limited value for money, and carefully pacing execution of foreign finance investments. And we try to link this to what the minister, Dr. Kesela Tafosing himself, said in the budget. He says that they were going to complete the work on the revision of the single spine pay policy to quell the incessant agitations of organized labor, with special emphasis on linking pay to productivity. And they said that this will reduce the wage overruns emanating from ad hoc reviews in conditions of service fueled by the in-year labor agitations. And they said that public institutions have actually exploited this weakness by staging protests to agitate for enhancement in their conditions of service, or a backdoor way of increasing consolidated salaries. So this is what we are learning from both the IMF program and what the finance minister said in the main budget in March.
And that is one key item we're watching very closely, this issue regarding the expenditure, but also what this will mean for the wage bill ahead of this mid-year budget review. And tomorrow we are all over this from 10 a.m. You want to join us for a special coverage of the mid-year budget review, starting from 10 all the way till it's done, with post-analysis as well. And talking about the wage bill, though, some expectations ahead of tomorrow, though, in the context of what the IMF program itself expects. The deputy spokesperson for the Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Philemon Japan, says that they are expecting the government to provide a roadmap for the recruitment of nurses who have graduated but are yet to be employed.
The three agreed conditions factored into the budget. Nurses are expecting to hear the mention of nurses and midwives conditions of service mentioned in the budget, and the fact that they are also important employees or essential service staff in Ghana. Secondly, nurses are looking forward to the bigger, broader budget, which will be ready in November, to encompass all the other allowances that have been pushed to next year, 2026.
But in terms of recruitment, there's the question whether government will be able to recruit more nurses. Is it an issue that's on your table as well?
That is a very important discussion that we are having now. We have shortages, and we have about 50,000 nurses that are waiting to be recruited. So the government must factor the recruitment of nurses and midwives as part of the budget. They must consider those who have stayed home for 3 years, 4 years, and then employ them, and then have a sectional recruitment process as and when the budget can contain. At the moment, we have heard of teachers recruitment and different other cadres. Meanwhile, there are promises in the by the Minister for Health that the government is envisaging building new chiefs compound and building new health centers. And I believe nurses and midwives are the key staff that are going to work in such areas. So we are looking forward for recruitment of nurses and midwives.
I want to bring in the Association of Ghana Industries now, the AGI. Chonam Akpelo is the president of the Greater Accra branch of the AGI, joins us right now. Chonam, I'm grateful that you could join us. And ahead of tomorrow's media budget review, certainly the AGI are going into tomorrow, waiting to listen with excitement, are you not? Considering how stable the CD is, its strength against all the major trading currencies and inflation now trending downwards.
Thank you, and good evening for having me. Yes, it is exciting times. It's good to admit that the economy has been fairly stable over the past couple of months, and so our expectation is that we'll continue to want to see a more stabilized environment, and actually a situation where will be sustained. But the main thing for us really is about how the 24 economic program will be rolled out in terms of the specific promises that were made under the program. Our expectation is that the minister would itemize the allocation in terms of tax rebates, incentives, and so on for private sector to benefit from. We do not expect introduction of any taxes. Yes, and so if anything at all, we would expect that some taxes are taken off or the rates of taxes are reduced.
Any particular tax you are expecting a reduction or complete scrapping?
Actually, we are looking forward to seeing how the whole VAT issue is resolved. We've had a long-standing concern about how the VAT is calculated. So, VAT, it's a consumption tax. It's an input-output tax. And so we input 21% rate and are only able to realize 15%. So there's this 6% in the middle that we want the government to consider to deal with. And so we are hoping that there will be pronouncements on the finality of how the whole issue of VAT is resolved and calculated.
Thank you very much. Chonam Akpelu is the Greater Accra branch president of the Association of Ghana Industries, and we are learning a bit more about what we can look forward to as far as the finance minister's statement in Parliament tomorrow is concerned. The chairman of Parliament's Committee on Economy and Development, Eric Affo, has hinted that tomorrow's mid-year budget review will stick with the total appropriation approved in March, and no request will be made for additional funds.
The investigation I've done so far is that the government will not come to the House to ask for additional funds. That's the first thing I want us to establish. We are not coming to the House to, ask for additional funds to execute the budget or the budget for 2025. What we are going to do is that we are going to stay within the appropriation of 293 billion that was programmed to execute the 2025 budget. For that matter, the presentation will be done through a statement, not through a motion. A statement means that the government is not asking for additional funds. So the members of parliament will only do or will have a comment on the statement. But when it is through a motion, that is where a full debate will be conducted. That's the first thing. 2, we are expecting that the government will lay more emphasis on some of the flagship programs within the 2025 budget statement, more especially on Big Push. The government appropriated 10.3 billion Ghana cedis for big push. In addition, the government appropriated 32 billion Ghana cedis for capital expenditure.
And that there is the chairman of Parliament's Economy and Development Committee. We are all over this tomorrow for you here on the JoyNews channel from 10 a.m. You do not want to miss it. So live your news night on Joy 99.7 FM, and we have some news just in details right after George. It has to do with Mustafa Hamid, the former CEO of the MPA, accused of fraud and corruption. That case went to court today, and himself and the co-accused have been granted bail to the tune of 2 million cedis. You're just learning that some of the other accused have failed as of tonight to meet the bail conditions and are currently still behind bars. Only Mustafa, from what we understand, has met the bail condition. As of 6 p.m., the rest of the 6 could not meet their bail conditions and have been detained. I will bring you more on this right after George is done with business. Hello, George.
Well, Evans, coming up, government directs Lands Commission to decentralize operation to all districts in the country, whilst giving up to 90 days turnaround for all applications. And Finance Minister Dr. Attoforson to use Midyear budget review to highlight work done by the new administration to stabilize the economy, whilst highlighting a commitment to fiscal discipline. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, government has directed the Lands Commission to decentralize its operations to all districts in the country. It has also been given up to 30 days as turnaround time for all applications to be worked on at the Commission. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Marco-Fibua, was speaking at Government Accountability Series program in the Flagstaff House today.
I'm happy to announce that 90 new district offices in underserved areas have been so far identified. It is expected that by the end of this year, every district will have Lands Commission office. This initiative aims at bringing land services closer to citizens, in reducing congestion at regional offices and strengthening land governance at the local level. In addition, the Lands Commission is working towards a turnaround time for the completion for all applications within 30 days. This is very critical. And when the president talks about resetting Ghana, it means making life a little more convenient to the people of Ghana. There's no point in anybody in Elembele who wants land services, who have to travel to Takoradi to have land services. There's no point. And so this effort is really going to make life very convenient for the people of Ghana, save them a lot of money, and bring efficiency to the operations of the Lands Commission. But we are not stopping there. We also are very much aware of delays.
Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Marco-Fibua. Now, Finance Minister Dr. Attoforson is set to present the mid-year review of the 2025 budget estimates to Parliament tomorrow. The minister will use a presentation to highlight work that has been done by the new administration to firmly stabilize the economy. The minister is also set to draw the contrast between when they took over and the current state of the economy. Dr. Attoforson will also indicate government's commitment to exercise the needed fiscal discipline in the coming months to the end of the year. Meanwhile, economist Dr. Edu Sarkodie says he expects the minister to review the macroeconomic targets.
If you talk about inflation, currently it's around 13%. The target was 11.9%. And we are just halfway through the year. So by the end of December, if everything stays on course, as we say in economics, if all things be equal, you're likely to hit single-digit inflation by the end of the year. So the revenue projections, or the government, I'm sure we are likely as a country to do better than all the targets that we set in the main budget. In terms of supplementary estimates, I am not too sure whether the minister will ask for supplementary estimates.
Economist Dr. Edu Owusu Sarkodie. Now, a finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Eliklim Agboloyo, is projecting some significant cut in Bank of Ghana's policy rate. The finance lecturer is pegging the rate of reduction at about 4% There is more in the following Business Desk report highlighting his reasons.
Be one of the biggest margin of production that has been projected by an analyst when it comes to the policy rate. This will bring the rate down from the current 28% to 24%, that is, if the Bank of Ghana should go this way come next Wednesday. The finance professor is basing his prediction on the significant drop in the rate of inflation over the past month, which will influence this cut by the Monetary Policy Committee. Professor Abloyo in his write-up further argued that due to the current development on the global market, the Bank of Ghana will want to cut by this margin, wait for a while, and drop the rate again in September by 200 basis points. Recent developments at the Bank of Ghana when it comes to its short-term bills have supported these predictions, especially when the central bank itself has cut its rate of its short-term bills from 27 to 13%.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, Chief Director at the Ministry of Employment, Labour Relations, Hamid Abubakar, has placed an urgent call on all stakeholders to actively participate in the Ghana Career and Migration Fair. Mr. Abubakar made these remarks during the launch of the Ghana Career and Migration Fair in Accra.
Fair scheduled to take place on the 17th of September 2025 will provide the platform for stakeholders to address the employment needs of the people, especially job seekers, ensuring that they are equipped with the skills, knowledge, opportunities, enter the labor market for decent employment opportunities outside the country. All stakeholders, governments, private sector, development partners, academicians, and civil society to actively support this agenda, participate and make the most of this initiative. Let us together make this year's Career and Migration Fair super successful.
Hamid Ada Kruku is a Chief Director at the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations. Now, more institutions and the country's development partners are projecting that the country is now likely to end the year with a single-digit inflation. The latest accounting firm Deloitte, and James Ishen has the rest of the story.
According to the professional services firm, the sustained disinflationary trend gives the Bank of Ghana sufficient headroom to resume its interest rate cut, which could start at its July MPC meeting. Deloitte continued that the combination of fiscal consolidation and further policy adjustment will ensure a sustained decline in inflation in the second half of the year. It's, however, warned of upside risk, including ongoing global shocks and tariff adjustment, for example, the 2.45% increase in electricity tariff, resulting in higher production costs and prices of goods and services. Again, it expressed worry about the implementation of the one-city fuel levy on petroleum products, as it described it as another upside risk that could increase fuel and transport costs.
And that is James Ishen with that report. And that's all for Business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
And thank you very much, George. And George will be leading our team in our coverage tomorrow of the Midyear budget review. And George, thanks for the brilliant work you always do when it comes to these matters. Yourself, what are you expecting?
Well, nothing much. This will be a normal review. Don't forget what the chairman of the committee said, that the minister is going to present a statement and there wouldn't be any room for debate. So look at the minister will come in and review what has happened over the past 6 months and also project going into the end of the year. And as you explained, Evans, the minister would want to make this critical point about what was the state of the economy when he took over, what he promised the public, especially when he appeared before the appointment committee, the things that he said and whether he has been vindicated or not, and going forward, the promise to exercise that needed fiscal discipline to sustain the gains that they've made over the past 6 months.
I'm looking forward to this tomorrow, and you want to join us from 10 a.m. all the way till when it's done. We'll be doing some really great pre-analysis, and then we'll launch into a post-presentation analysis, myself, Wakesting, and a host of other crack economic minds will all converge to analyze this, and you want to join us for that also across our many social media platforms. And the developing story around the NPA scandal, which is now a subject of a court action. We now know today that Dr. Mustafa Hamid, who is the former chief executive of the National Petroleum Authority, has been granted bail in the sum of $2 million following his arraignment in the $280 million extortion and money laundering case filed by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We're now learning tonight in the last few minutes that he has met his bail condition, and so he can go home as we speak as of 6 p.m. The rest of the 6 who were all accused together with him could not meet their bail conditions and have been detained. The 17 lawyers, we understand, were in court today to represent all the accused, with the courtroom very packed. Corridors were packed to the rafters with 3 imams and supporters of Mustafa Hamid all present there to give him their backing. We'll keep a close eye on that developing story. We'll bring you the latest as and when we have it. Let's do sports now. Musbah is joining me with the latest.
Yeah, Evans, the third place game in the 2025 WAFU B Under-20 Boys Cup did take place today at the University of Ghana Stadium. It involved Ghana and Niger, and Ghana managed to nick down one by 2-0. Now, Ghana, first goal scored in the 70th minute by Aziz Misbah, who calmly converted the penalty. But there was a bit of dramatic turn in the 67th minute when Niger players briefly walked off the pitch in protest of a penalty that was awarded to Ghana for a handball in the box. It took CAF officials' intervention to restore order for play to resume, and then Aziz Misbah, player for the Ghana 20 side, managed to convert it and give Ghana the lead. Ghana went on to score a second in the 78th minute, and that sealed the win for Ghana, lifting the bronze medal in the third edition of the WAFU B Under-20 Boys Cup. For the Black Queens, they will also be in action on Friday for the third place game against South Africa in the Women's AFCON. But now we are 16 days to the Joy Sports Invitational on August 9, and a number of companies have already signed up. Well, the National Identification Authority is part of the companies that have signed up, and also IS Evolution Consult have also signed up. We were the offices of the National Identification Authority earlier today, and their CEO, Wisdom Yaira Koku Deku, says his team is ready and looking forward to lift the trophy.
It's on the penalty shootout, so I'll be partaking in the penalty shootouts and the e-games, and trust me, NI is taking every trophy back to here. It's joy, I take everything. So in fact, Messi told us how we should kick the penalty, the ball, and everything. So the team, we are all ready. We are training, and everything is done. And trust us, if there is a cap on it, I'm sure when we finish, some of the international football clubs will come and hire us, and so that we can go and play through everything for them. Thank you very much.
Well, that's the CEO of NIA. They're looking forward to the penalty shootout. Also, the CEO of IS Evolution Consult is also getting ready for the tournament, and they say they are looking to improve upon their team's performance in the football category.
I think even tomorrow we even have a session. We've booked the training pitches. Everything is already set. So we've been on this for saying that last time after the games we know the football didn't go well. So we've been playing some friendly matches here and there, and I think we are all fully ready now to give our best. Yes.
Yeah, so registration is still open for all companies to get on board. If you haven't done so, just head to myjoyonline.com and you'll get more details on how you can get to register your company. We'll come to your offices and interact with you as we build up to the big event on August 9. Evans, that's it.
What will you be doing yourself? You were telling us everybody else is discipline.
Well, I've been training for
what?
I've been training for the, what do you call it, the basketball bit. You know,
basketball.
Yeah, basketball. You know,
basketball
there's free throw-ins that's going to happen. So I've been training.
Throwing?
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that.
No, it's part of the game, and that's what I'm interested in. I want to do that. Understand you've also been readying for the 100 meters dash.
I don't want a 100-meter dash anymore.
No,
I want a 200-meter dash.
200 meters. You want
Yes, because that really is.
It's too short.
It's too short. I want to prove to your colleague,
yeah,
that you need endurance. to win a 200 meters.
Okay, you need endurance to do the 200
and
meters.
he hasn't got that.
He hasn't got the endurance.
Because you can't spend the amount of time I spent in the gym and just to come and waste it on a few seconds. You know, so I want to go the longer distance.
We understand this time around. You're not just going to be doing with him. There are a few others.
Oh no, I want you part of the.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see if I can substitute Muftar. If not, you have to represent the Joy
leave the throw-ins for, you know, come and join the
I think
boys.
we should expand it. Joy Business gets a representative. You know, your desk also gets another. We have the entertainment desk gets another. We'll see. You know, not bad. We'll see who.
Come and join the men. Let's separate the men from the boys.
Yeah. So 200 meters is a day. I guess 9.
And when I'm done, I probably would do the full field.
I guess 9. We'll see.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, talking about getting onto the field, you need a strong heart to manage what I am planning to do when we go for that invitational tournament. And that is why I'm excited to tell you about this story. Because Ghana has hit a major milestone in heart care, performing its first ever cardiac ablation. Now, the life-saving procedure treats dangerous irregular heartbeats and was once only done abroad. Now, a local and international team has brought it home, offering hope to thousands at risk of sudden cardiac arrest. JoyNews' Stephen Mensah witnessed the historic operation, and here's his report right to you.
Amma, not her real name. A 32-year-old whose life has been shaped by a heart that beats out of rhythm. A short walk left her breathless, dizzy, and afraid. She did not know when her heart would give out. Today, inside the theater at the University of Ghana Medical Center, Amma becomes part of medical history. The first among a handful Ghanaians to receive a cardiac ablation right here at home. It is a lifeline procedure. For years, patients with arrhythmias, a dangerous condition where the heart beats too fast, too slow, or irregularly, had only one option: fly abroad, spend tens of thousands of dollars, or wait for the obvious: death.
These people, it's not because of any particular risk factors or any particular lifestyle choices, but they're born with it. And usually what is sort of quoted is that about 15% of the population is born with an additional wiring, and out of this 15%, a large percentage of them can end up having SVT.
But this week, that's changed. Ghana joined the League of Nations able to treat these silent heart threats with cardiac ablation, a minimally invasive procedure that uses heat or cold energy to destroy faulty electrical signals in the heart.
We try to use medicines first, but medicines can only go so far. So when medicines fail and don't take care of the whole problem, then catheter ablation provides a definitive treatment. First of all, it's not surgery because we don't actually cut or make an incision. We generate heat through the catheter to damage that tissue and cause it to stop there fast.
It's a medical marvel, but one still far out of reach for most.
So there are only a limited number of places that we can do these types of procedures because you have to have a well-functioning cath lab, and the only 2 places really that have the kind of equipment and the kind of basic equipment on top of which we can add the other equipment that we're bringing at the current time at National Cardiothoracic Center at Kolebu, and then University of Ghana Medical Center. They're very costly.
According to the World Health Federation, over 48,000 Ghanaians died from cardiovascular diseases in 2021 alone. Some of these deaths were preventable if only treatment came in time.
So there's a lot of electronics involved, and that makes it expensive. And then there are also the catheters. Those are the disposables, the catheters that are used, and the other supplies that are included. They make the procedure very expensive. If I were to make a guess where all the supplies are being purchased by the patient, it's thousands of dollars, probably close to 10,000 for a procedure. I would like to see some governmental policies that hopefully address this need, because there's a large need of patients here.
Today, Amma's heartbeat is steady, but the beat of progress must reach a minimum like her, who live each day under threats from their own heart. Stephen Mensah, JoyNews, Accra.
It's live here on News Nighters on Joy and 99.7 FM. is the signal for us to cross over to a team covering this year's National Science and Maths Quiz, and it was all fun and bragging in the Ashanti Regional Qualifiers after Osei Tree SHS qualified for the Zonal and National Championship, despite the school supporters being sacked from the quiz auditorium for defying instructions by the quiz mistress, and they were asked not to cheer, but they did go on to cheer. And so they were sacked. In spite of that, though, their school still went ahead to win. They ended the contest with 54 points, 16 points more than the second place school, Jachi Pramso. My colleague Collins was there for us and is on the line with us. Collins, tell us about this refusal to stop chanting when they were asked to stop it. And I'm curious how this affected those who were contesting on their behalf. It appears it didn't have an impact at all.
Yes, so Evans, this happened during the round 2, which is the riddle stage, and according to the rules, you don't expect the supporters to clap or keep clapping when the quiz mistress starts speaking. But that wasn't what was happening, despite cautioning from quiz mistress and also the organizers. So the final thing was that they were being directed to leave the auditorium, and this really didn't affect the contestants. They were leading that particular round after the round 2 with about 10 points. They went ahead to win all the last round. They picked all their questions in that, and they secured 54 points to qualify. And they've not won the zonal championship in the last 6 years, but they are hoping to win it.
And tell me about the other contests.
So, Evans, we had 4 contests happening in the Ashanti region, and one was the first one. Afterwards, we had Kumasi Anglican, who last 2 years they won it, but they lost last year to Kumasi High. This time around, they came in and they also secured their points and also qualification to the zonal championship as well as the nationals. But as Kumasi Anglican, when they come in, people expect them to win. They call themselves the disciples, and they claim that they are the first who Jesus Christ called them to be a school or educational institution in the country. So they don't expect any other schools to come in to win the zonal championship next week, and they'll also come stronger during October national championship, and they hope to win it after so many years that they've missed out. Bompata Presby SHS also came in the last contest, and they came with all the drama and the hype in there, and they qualified. And we also had the Quiet SDA also coming in, securing their second consecutive, also qualifying for the first time in 6 years also over there.
Thank you very much, Collins, and we keep watching what is unfolding as far as the National Science and Maths Quiz is concerned, and I'm pretty sure your school is involved. If your school is not involved, it's okay. You can join the likes of Papani Ashada, who's standing on my shoulders, whose school is bragging quite a bit, hoping to do a 9th or a 10th, whatever it is. Well, they say they lost count. Well, thank you very much, Collins. Still live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the brand new NDC MP for Ablikuma North, Irabana Open, was sworn in yesterday, but it wasn't just her political debut that had everyone, including MPs, whispering. It appears her charm may have swept many off their feet in the male-dominated parliament. Even the Speaker of Parliament could not help himself. Yes, I'm talking about Alban Babing. And then there was a majority leader, Mahama Yariga, who decided to spice things up with some parliamentary humor. So what really happened?
Obin. Sex, female. Contact number 020-94-201. I saw some of you taking her telephone number.
We in the minority want to make a quick comment before the member-elect is sworn in.
It
is not here this morning that he's going to be able to arrest anything. Please hold your fire. Let the speaker swear in the young lady. I know you didn't take her phone number. You can get it afterwards. And
Please, she is not in the market, so please don't attempt.
Well, she's not in the market. Now we know, those of you wondering, and I was too wondering, she's not in the market. The Speaker of Parliament putting that debate to rest. Enjoy the rest of your evening. My name is Evan Spencer.